Today I have a very special guest that flew in from Orange County. She's helped a ton of students, and her niche is helping people buy properties without ever seeing them. Let's get into it. What is going on, and welcome to another episode of The Hot Take. I'm your host, Jesse Burell with BatchTV, and this is where we talk everything from wholesaling, real estate flipping, rentals, and everything in between. All right, today's special guest, Lauren Hardy, welcome on.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So before we get started, let's get a quick bio of Lauren Hardy. How long have you been in real estate for? What are you doing today?
Hey, my name is Lauren Hardy, and I am from Orange County, California. I have been in the real estate investing business for 9 years. Currently, I am a volume wholesaler, and I wholesale virtually. So what I mean by that is I don't actually invest or wholesale in my backyard. I invest out of state because I make more money there. The margins are better there. My backyard is very difficult. It's not super conducive to wholesaling. So my virtual wholesaling model is really what kept me in this business all this time. I'm also a coach. I coach virtual wholesaling. I also host the Wholesaling Inc Podcast. I've had over 350 students who I've taught how to successfully virtual wholesale. It's been awesome. It's been a really, really great experience, and I'm excited to tell you guys all about that today.
All right, so virtual wholesaling is something people have talked about forever. I've done it for a long time as well, back when we were wholesaling. But I think we wanted to talk about just a few quick things of, why it's important, how you could do it. But the first question, as we talked before the show, is how do you pick a market? So for you, when you're teaching students or someone wants to virtually wholesale, let's say they live in LA and it's really hard to get a deal, or they're in a really small market and it's hard to find deals that way too. How do you pick a market?
So Jesse, exactly what you said, those two reasons are the two number one reasons why students come to me in my coaching program. It's either that market is too small and real estate doesn't hold that much value there, or market is just way too expensive. The average house price is like, $500,000 or more. So it makes more sense to wholesale in a different market. I was in the latter experience. So I know firsthand that picking the right market is very important. So picking a market can get very complicated. I will just give you kind of the top part of what is most important. The most important thing is search for the proof of concept. So if you want to wholesale houses, you need to go to a market where you can find other people successfully wholesaling houses with ease. If you can't, that's probably an indication that that market might not be good.
Yeah. So I've thought personally, I've wholesaled, I think, in like 48 states. I wouldn't recommend doing it. Pick a couple markets and dive deep into them.
Yeah.
I know, I believe your biggest market is Oklahoma City.
Yes.
So I believe like the Midwest markets are always really good, having price points from $60K in the super affordable housing up to, probably now what, $250,000 to $300,000 would probably be. Right? Or,
yes.
Or is Oklahoma City is a little bit cheaper though, right?
Yeah.
It's
so
like $150.
So another picking a market recommendation I have is price point. I really like the price point between I like the average house price in the county to be between $130,000 and $200,000.
And the next question obviously is going to be why?
Why? That's a really good question. So wholesaling is all about getting properties under contract below market value, right?
Yeah.
And to be able to do that, you've got to be able to get the seller to sell to you at a discount, right?
Yeah.
Sort of, maybe we use the word convince the seller to that you're their best option to sell to them at a discount, right?
You're going to give them the best value for their time is what you're going to do.
Right. So when you are in a market where the average house price is $850,000, the seller's more aware of their options and that they could probably put the property on the MLS and sell it really, really quick.
Well, there's no inventory. And the other thing is too, if you're at, 100 to 200,000 for those price points, now when you're buying those houses, you don't have to just sell to a flipper. We have people that are buying rental properties with good cap rates in those areas. So I've always liked personally, and this has nothing to do with any type of market research or analyst stuff, but the Midwest, I've liked Memphis. There's a lot of people that buy renters there. Indianapolis has been great for us. I liked Oklahoma City. I've wholesaled a handful of homes there. Those are 3 great markets. And I know Casey Ryan, who's actually been on the show before, so link to his. He's bought like 80 houses in Oklahoma City in the last like 12 months.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying is he needs properties. He's buying from wholesalers because he's out of state too. So those markets that you could sell rental properties, especially in the U.S. right now, I think those are the best markets to pick if you want to do a virtual market.
Absolutely. I love landlord markets. I call them landlord or rental markets. Markets where you can get that 1% rent to price ratio or better. Yeah. What I notice is when you can't get that rent to price ratio that you want, it gets harder to wholesale in those markets.
What's your exit strategy? Your exit strategy is basically a fix and flipper.
That's it. Right.
Or I guess right now we even have people are wholesaling houses to end buyers right now, but that's not going to last forever either.
No, and you have to think of the exit strategy of a fix and flip. Well, then they have to get the property at a steeper discount than a landlord. So when I'm talking to a seller who has a perfect house for a rental, I can usually offer them 10% to 20% more than a fix and flip investor. Right. So my offer is going to get accepted, and it's not as much of a discount to that seller. So they're weighing out, well, the time it takes to put it on the market, I'm probably going to get a similar price.
Yeah, once you back out commissions and realtor fees and repairs that they may have to do if they put it on the market.
Right. I'm not negotiating that big of a discount. Really, I can put it to them, and it's pretty much apples and apples, where when you are negotiating for a potential flip, it's a huge chunk, and the seller knows that they're letting go of a lot of equity, and so that makes it harder.
So the second factor that I feel is most important, especially when you're wholesaling in a place that you're not at, you have to have a good process. That is the other key factor. Pick a market. You don't want to pick the wrong market. Let's say we've identified that right market. Okay, what's next? You have to have a solid process. Let's quickly run through what's the most important part in that process, in your opinion, on how to start virtually wholesaling.
Yes, processes are huge. And in fact, the reason most people give up on going virtual is because they don't have the right processes. They try to do what they would do if they were there in that virtual market, and it's completely different. So the number one thing is you got to let go of your ego, and you have to accept that you're going to need to partner with somebody at first for a while. And that's a hard pill for people to swallow, especially experienced wholesalers who've been doing it in their backyard for years, and then for some reason they want to expand, they want to make more money, so they want to go virtual. So they go, wait, I'm not gonna share my fee with someone else. I'll just find a buyer myself, and they just end up blowing it. You need to have that partnership out there. So that's my number one recommendation, is to squad up with another wholesaler.
That makes sense. I think another thing that's important too, and it's something that we did so you could lock contracts up over the phone, is what I did, is we kind of reversed the process from how it normally is to where you go on an appointment or you need them to send you pictures. What we would get was we would have a protocol of, these are all the things we need to know from the seller before we could offer. Then we let the seller know, hey, we're going to agree to this offer, but we have to do an inspection to make sure we verify that the house is in the condition that you're in. So we're going off of what they told us, but if we have to retrade because one, either they lied, or two, we were maybe a little off with our numbers, they have that expectation going in to where they weren't fully truthful with us. So, hey, we can't buy it at this price for the fact. So we just did it completely backwards before, when there were a lot of people that weren't virtually wholesaling. This was back in 14, 15, 16, 17. A lot more people do it this way now, regardless. But they would basically have to go on an appointment, do the whole spiel at the appointment. You can't do that virtually. You have your acquisition people, like in Phoenix. We're here in Phoenix. They're calling a different market. We have a whole process for them to get something under contract. Now from there, then you have to have your partner go inspect the house, do all the things, send the pictures, make sure that we're good to go, and then go market the property.
That's exactly. I mean, I can tell you were virtual because you've got the process right. And yeah, you can't just go inspect every house that you get a lead on. Because you actually have to pay somebody to do that. And so what we found is that it makes more sense to go off of the seller's word, but to really set that expectation that, we're going to agree on this price. but
it's contingent on you being honest.
On you being honest, and it's contingent on us seeing this property. So what we found is if you set the expectation, then it's good and it's smooth.
Yeah, absolutely. So before we go, Lauren, how does someone get a hold of you? If someone's interested in your coaching, how do they learn more about that? And then also, I want one gold nugget, anything having to do with entrepreneurship, give that away, because I know everyone has something of what they really believe in.
Yeah. Okay. So first, to get a hold of me, if you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is thismomflips. You could also go to my website where I've got a free wholesaling mini course. I've got a bunch of little freebies. Check it out at www.laurenhardyco.com. That's laurenhardyco.com. From there, you could look into I have a link right to my coaching program. Awesome. Where we coach all things virtual wholesaling. And so for my golden gem, if you really want to get into wholesaling or anything, any kind of goal that you have, I think the best advice is to first get yourself inspired and fill your media up with anything that is going to inspire you to do that exact thing. So like if you want to get into virtual wholesaling, you should follow me on Instagram, follow other virtual wholesalers on Instagram. Listen to podcasts. So instead of listening to music in the car, get those podcasts, save them. So every time you get in the car, you've got like a new podcast to listen to and inspire you. So whenever I want to learn something new or I've got this new goal, I fill my media up. So it's all that I'm looking at and seeing. And eventually my brain is programmed to look for those opportunities, and it does push you. It gives you the motivation by listening to, stories like mine or other people that are on those podcasts.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, one thing that really changed my life was reading. And when I get into a car, it's always an Audible or a podcast. I'm more of an Audible person because I'm like really intentional. But podcasts sometimes if I'm trying to learn something new. And that has significantly changed my life because now I'm always using spare time to be effective with that time, because everyone has people and things and families and stuff going on to where you doing small things to really maximize the value of your time. And don't watch TV. Don't watch a lot of TV, especially when you're first getting started. I think it's really important to really consume yourself with wanting to be successful. Most of the successful people I know don't spend a lot of time wasting time. So another amazing episode of The Hot Take. That should at least get you started on how to wholesale virtual. It's great, as Lauren said, if you're in a small market or overpriced market, but it's also really great if you're in a market and being successful and you want to expand your business. That may be the only way to do it. Again, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and until next time, let's get it.